What's up, savvy expats? Today we're going to look at the top 5 pros and cons of living in the Philippines, as told by a local. And without any delay, let's dive into the list. Filipinos love to eat. And because of that, you can never run out of good places to dine in the country. From local cuisines to international ones, the Philippines offers a diverse selection of dishes that anyone will surely love. This is because of the Philippines' colonial past, which has heavily influenced the local food culture. The Philippines is an island located in Southeast Asia between the South China Sea and the Pacific Ocean. Because of its location, the country has become a popular migration trade route in the region since the 1800s. From the Chinese, Arabic, and Indian and Malay traders in the pre-colonial era, to the Spanish conquistadors and American influence, you'll never get bored trying the different cuisines in the country. Aside from history and traditions, the Philippines has a long history of being a tourist destination, which made the food industry develop its market around tourists' demand as well. We now see so many restaurants offering dishes from other countries. Among them are the famous Samgyeopsal restaurant, thanks to Korea's growing influence, American food chains, and Japanese and Chinese restaurants. The Bonifacio Global City, more known as BGC, is a great place to eat out since it's famous for its high-end shopping malls, trendy nightclubs, and upscale restaurants that cater to both international and local tastes. In continuation with offering international cuisines, Filipinos do not shy away from speaking in English, which is why you will never have difficulty when traveling to the country. Whether you're asking for directions, looking for suggestions, or making friends, you will surely feel at ease since almost everyone will understand you. What's more is that Filipinos are generally happy to talk to tourists. I've seen this many times, not to say it out loud. Foreigners get special attention from Filipinos in a good way. Going out in public, you'll see many curious eyes peering at you, but only because they're positively intrigued that you came to the country. Once you approach them and talk to them, they'll happily reply to you and may even try to help you out. This is because Filipinos are very friendly, and it helps that they have a positive view of tourists in the country. So why not try talking to them when getting around? I'm sure that you'll find plenty eager to hold a conversation with you. The reason why Filipinos are friendly is rooted in their trademark of being hospitable people, which makes them one of the warmest people in the country. Whether you're a friend, a relative, or someone who plans to visit a Filipino household, Filipinos will make sure that your stay and their abode will be amazing. As previously mentioned, Filipinos love food. So it's no surprise that one of the things they'll first ask when you visit is, "Kumain ka na ba?" or "Have you eaten?" And whatever answer you give, there's surely a food prepared just for your visit. I've experienced this in all households I've been to, whether it's at my friend's or relative's place. A visit from one is an automatic requirement to prepare food. Not just any food, but food that's planned beforehand and made with love. And it's not only Filipino food that they will welcome you with. They'll accommodate you in their living room, which they cleaned just for you. They'll also make an effort to make you feel as comfortable as possible. Whether that's by turning on the TV, the air conditioning, making you sing karaoke, or giving you some snacks. I remember my relatives even going out of the house to buy soda so guests can drink while waiting for the food. There's no shortage in terms of Filipino hospitality. It's not because we Filipinos love to impress others. It's just that we love our visitors to spend the best time in our homes. Filipinos are not only known for their warm personalities, but also for their warm climate. This is why the Philippines is best known as a tropical paradise with hundreds of beach places to go to all year long. This means that even if you didn't have time to get your tan in the summer, you'll get to have plenty of opportunities to do so even in December. If you're not a fan of the sun all year long, or if you just want to take a break from the tropical paradise, you won't need to go out of the country just to experience a cooler climate. The Philippines enjoys a cooler temperature from December to February, where temperatures can go as low as 21 degrees Celsius. Sure, it's not as cold as Antarctica, but who wants to freeze anyway, right? Or, if you want to wait for the colder months, you can go to places that are known for their cooler temperature all year. Popular places such as Baguio, Sagada, and Tagaytay are enjoyed by everyone in Metro Manila. There are also other beautiful and cold places that are worth going to, such as Itbayat in Batanes, Don Salvador Benedicto in Negros Occidental, Lake Cebu in South Cotabato, and Malaybalay City in Bukidnon, which is also known as Little Baguio. Something to also consider is the country's seasons. The Philippines only has 2 seasons, the dry season, which covers November to May, and the rainy season, which starts from June until October. While the rainy season means that the weather will be, well, rainy, you can still enjoy the warm and sunny weather during those months. What is the Philippines without its culture and traditions? As an archipelago with over 7,107 islands, the Philippines is rich in culture, customs, and traditions. As I mentioned a while ago, the country was a popular trade and migration route in the pre-colonial era, and was even once the colonial territory of Spain, the United States, and Japan. This influenced the Philippines to a degree that certain languages, traits, and customs were ingrained in the country. So if I say that the Philippines is rich in these 3 things, believe me, it really is. Let's start off with culture. Filipinos are family-oriented people. Their values and beliefs are built around the importance of family, and you can see just how much it has shaped their personality and their life. You can glimpse of this during celebrations, whether it's a party, marriage, baptism, or just a simple family gathering, where you'll see not just the immediate family celebrating the event, but the whole extended family. Cousins will be there, uncles and aunts are present, and grandmas and grandpas are also there to celebrate the event. I can attest to this since I also have a large family. I remember attending wedding celebrations wherein my extended family was enough to fill the whole venue. You can definitely say that that's one less thing to worry about if you feel like no one's gonna attend your birthday. Another trait that makes Filipinos unique is their bayanihan spirit. Whenever Filipinos hear that word, the image that immediately comes to their mind would be Filipinos carrying a nipa hut together. The concept of bayanihan is widespread throughout the country, and that this image is a true representation of what it's like for Filipinos to come together. Bayanihan, in simple terms, is a community working together to achieve a common goal. Aside from family, community is also an important concept in Filipino culture, since Filipinos believe that working together trumps most difficulties in life. Religion has also become a part of the Filipino identity. Filipinos are very religious people, no matter what religion they practice. The country, being a predominantly Catholic religion with almost 80% belonging to the faith, also celebrates religious events which are considered national holidays. In smaller communities such as barangays, we see Catholic events such as a fiesta or feast, where communities come together to celebrate the special day of the patron saint of the community. This includes a mass and sometimes even a procession of the saint in the streets at night. You'd see different statues of the saint on fancy carriages being paraded in the streets, along with ladies dressed in gowns and men dressed in the traditional barong Tagalog. Truly, I can tell you that it's one of the highlights of growing up in communities whose religious traditions are kept alive every year. Fiestas are also part of the customs and traditions Filipinos celebrate every year. Aside from religious feasts mentioned, there are also celebrations held in many parts of the Philippines that celebrate life, nature, and bountiful harvests. What's common in all festivals here is that there's lots of food, lots of dancing, and lots of color. From the Panagbenga Festival in Baguio to the Kadayawan Festival in Davao City, These festivals are full of life and are surely something worth seeing when you visit the country. Another custom is celebrating Christmas. For us Filipinos, September is the start of the Christmas season. The Philippines has the longest Christmas celebration in the world, starting from September and ending in January. We even named the months leading to December as Burr months, which is a clear sign that Christmas is in the air. And if it's Christmas spirit you're looking for, then you've come to the right country. Once September starts, Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas tops the charts as you can hear them played in all households and even malls. Visiting malls is a unique experience. You'll see a lot of Christmas lights and stunning decorations. Noche Buena is also celebrated in households before the clock strikes 12 to celebrate Christmas Day, which is a wonderful experience every year. So now we all see the beautiful things that the Philippines has to offer, and it's definitely a beautiful experience. But like in all countries, there's always a flip side to it. Since we've tackled the pros of living in the Philippines, let's also look at the disadvantages that comes with living in the country. Personally, I've experienced all of these, so I can tell you more about it here. Number 1 is traffic. The traffic congestion in Metro Manila is the 4th worst in the world according to Business World. A 10-minute travel could stretch to 20 minutes or twice as long. Major highways such as EDSA are known to experience heavy traffic, especially during rush hour, due to problems in infrastructure and the growing population of communities along and near EDSA. In 2020, authorities did report that from a 71% congestion level before the pandemic, traffic dropped to a 53% at the height of the lockdown. But this only goes to show that solutions to the traffic are short-term. The problem of traffic and public transport go hand in hand. The reason why there's a heavy traffic in the Philippines is because there are so many cars to the point that it exceeds road capacity. While a simple solution for this is to use public transport instead of cars, nothing is ever simple in the Philippines in terms of commuting. The country does offer a lot of ways to commute, but if you prefer to have a hassle-free morning on the way to work, then I wouldn't suggest taking the bus or trains, especially during rush hour. There are so many public transports to choose from. You can ride a bus, the metro, the jeepneys, or even tricycles at some point. The metros, such as the LRT and MRT, are key alternatives to avoiding traffic and getting to work on time, but to be able to get to work early, you need to be willing to stand in lines and mingle in a coach of similar work-stressed individuals. The government has been implementing solutions for this problem, and we see the expansion of the MRT and LRT lines to other cities. New trains are also being added, which leaves us in a hopeful state that the commuting problem in the country will somehow lessen, if not solved completely. Number 3 is corruption. Sure, every country has its own form of corruption, but in the Philippines, corruption is endemic and is present in even smaller government units. Corruption is usually defined as stealing money, but it has a lot of other meanings. Aside from the corruption done by big names in government agencies, which has affected the growth of the country, the Philippines also experiences smaller forms of corruption such as overcharging, the concept of fixers, and lagays. Overcharging is done when someone demands to be paid a price that's too high for their product or service. Sadly, this is all too common in the Philippines, especially in smaller shops, when they assume that buyers have a lot of money. Public transports such as taxis, tricycles, and jeepneys also overcharge their customers at times, especially when these customers are unfamiliar with the place. Another form of corruption is the concept of fixers. Some government agencies take time to process your documents and might make you wait in line for hours. This is where fixers come in. To put it simply, fixers offer to speed up your process by doing the lining up and all the process for you for an extra fee. Similar to this is the concept of lagay, which can be experienced most commonly by drivers. At times, you'll be stopped by traffic authorities to say that you've committed a traffic violation even when you didn't. They'd give you their usual talk about violating road rules and getting your driver's license confiscated. You can solve it by paying them some fee to get your license back and continuing with your life as if nothing happened. These types of corruptions are only a part of what makes the issue endemic in the Philippines. While this won't really affect your life in a major way, it doesn't hurt to be cautious and alert when going to the public. Next up is sexism. Sexism in the Philippines is somehow ingrained in the country's culture. Despite the Philippines' economy growing, sexism still remains a persistent issue in many urbanized cities. The typical roles as to what men and women should do are still practiced and impressed upon the younger generations, wherein women are supposed to be reserved and modest, and men are supposed to be providers and protectors. While there's nothing wrong with practicing these characteristics, what makes it wrong is that it becomes a standard for Filipinos to the point that it affects the people and the country negatively. We still see a lot of sexual harassment and violence blamed against women, their clothing, and actions. On the other hand, we make fun of men being more vocal about their feelings. Despite this, the younger Filipino generations are much more aware about these problems and have advocated against these issues. And lastly, we have the typhoons. Due to the country's geographical location, the Philippines experiences tropical cyclones which produce heavy rains, strong winds, and flooding. The intense rains and winds result in heavy casualties affecting the lives of Filipinos and damaging their properties. There are also many cases where several lives are lost due to the typhoons that pass the country. While the government is trying to address these issues through risk reduction programs, there are still many things that the government needs to do to improve the situations of the typhoon survivors. And that is our list of pros and cons of living in the Philippines, Savvy Expats. If you enjoyed this video, you can give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching, Savvy Expats, and I'll see you in the next videos.